Hi there, I'm Mike. What I have for you today is Star Wars The Black Series vehicle creature pack thing that they've got. This is number 4. Dewback. Go ahead and check out this picture while I read the bio on the back of the box. Rugged reptiles with thick hides, dewbacks are plodding but reliable mounts. When prodded by their riders, they are capable of brief bursts of surprising speed. Out of the package, the Dewback looks like a Dewback should. Now that's changed over the years. The Dewback was originally and pretty much only ever shown in A New Hope. Originally in the 1977 version, and it's weird that I have to point that out. The Dewbacks were just kind of rubber props that were mostly silhouetted in the background because they didn't work. They could move the head and that was about it. They made a toy in the original Power of the Force line and then they updated it because in 1997 they released Star Wars A New Hope, the special edition, and they went back and redid all the Dewbacks with the best state-of-the-art CGI of the time, giving Dewbacks a lot more life and an extra 5 or 6 seconds of screen time. And this looks just like it for the most part. I mean, it's definitely a Dewback. It's a giant lizard with saddles and scales and eyes and legs. That's what a Dewback should look like, right? This Dewback's so great, he even comes with accessories. The first accessory is actually the saddle. The saddle comes off in the package, and the package, oddly enough, is mostly empty. It's like 90% empty space and like 5% Dewback. It's really weirdly packaged. I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, but you get the idea. But I'm not reviewing the packaging. It comes with a saddle. The saddle you have to put on, and it's slotted to only really fit in one way. It's hard to mess it up. I did have a little bit of a trouble snapping it on, but it looks good. So it's not really an accessory because I'm never ever going to take it off, because if you do, he just has a giant pegged hole in his back. It's just not right. His next accessory is an entire Sandtrooper. Now, if you're a completionist or a longtime collector like myself, this will be your 4th unique Sandtrooper unless you bought doubles of the previous releases. This accessory has his own bio, so check out this picture while I read the bio of this accessory. Stormtroopers dispatched to desert worlds wear specialized gear and are nicknamed Sandtroopers. Sandtroopers wear standard Stormtrooper armor augmented with cooling units, a helmet sand filter, and a survival backpack with extra rations and water. While hunting for the Death Star plans on Tatooine, Sandtroopers use native Dewbacks as mounts. That brings up a good point. They're perfectly good speeders that most people would use, but the Empire was like, nah, you guys get to ride around on lizards for some reason. Plot hole. Anyways, the Sandtrooper looks pretty much exactly how he should. He's got Stormtrooper armor, he's got dirt, he's got a shoulder pad, but this is missing one of his things, and that is the backpack here. He comes with a backpack accessory. It pegs right into the back of him, and that definitely completes the Ghostbuster look that he has. But what Sandtrooper would really be complete without a rifle? This one comes with what is, according to Wikipedia, a DLT-19 heavy blaster. I do have to say I'm a little on the disappointed side. It doesn't have any kind of dry brushing or anything other than just the black matted plastic that it's molded in. But hey, I'm honestly never really going to have it in his hands anyways, because on top of that blaster, he comes with this Dewback prod, because, you know, he's got to prod the Dewback. It's really weird. This is literally just a really long molded stick that he comes with the sole purpose of abusing his mount. Having never really reviewed the Sandtrooper before properly, let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation. Stormtrooper has a swivel on a head. It moves forward this much and back that much, pretty far. The arm moves out that far and is hindered by the sculpt of the plastic there. Moves all the way around. He has a double jointed elbow, but this piece doesn't move because it's kind of hindered by how far this plastic sticks out, but it is double jointed. He has a diaphragm joint that swivels back and forth. It moves forward this far, back that far, and I'm keeping the backpack on because who has a Sandtrooper without a backpack? His leg moves forward that far, back not so far because of his butt plating. An okay spread, and then the backpack falls off. Double jointed knee, upper thigh swivel, hinge at the ankle, and then a crazy rocker. With this being his widest stance with both feet flat on the ground, his articulation is pretty trooper standard. If you've ever had a Sandtrooper or a Stormtrooper before, you'll be very familiar with this. I will say that it is a little hindered by his extra little pouches provided by Rob Liefeld on the side, as well as the backpack. It hinders his movement just a tad, but really not too much to really be miffed about. I will say though, because of the backpack, mine tend to bend at the knee a little bit because it's so heavy, especially if I have it in some sort of a dynamic pose. You can fix that pretty easily with hot water. It's still just kind of annoying that you have to do it. I've had to do it a couple times on all of my Sandtroopers. The sculpt here is pretty standard for a Sandtrooper. However, the paint is not. He is dirtied up in a pretty unique way compared to his Sandtrooper brethren. He also does have a different colored shoulder pad that denotes his rank. I know the orange one is the leader, and I'm sure the white and the black one means something too, and I'm sure you'll probably tell me in the comments down below, and yes, I could have looked it up, but why suck the joy out of you commenting and correcting me? Go ahead. Let me know in the comments down below. What do these colors mean? What even color is this? I can't tell. I'm colorblind. Colors aren't real. Ultimately, I'm always down for more troopers. Any reason to buy an extra trooper, I'll do it. I'll take it. Because troopers fill out your collection nicely. Whether it's sand, snow, storm, range, mud, swamp, mountain, fire, ice, dog, dino, whatever kind of trooper they want to make for these movies, I'll take it. I'll buy it. All of them. Final thoughts on this figure. It's pretty good, but I totally forgot that I'm not really just reviewing this figure, and he's essentially just kind of an add-on accessory for this really awesome Dewback, and I think we just left on accessories, which brings us to articulation. Let's go ahead and take a look at this Dewback's articulation before I give my final thoughts on the whole thing. The head moves, and not so much up, but pretty far down. Not really side to side too much, but it does turn pretty well. The mouth opens pretty far, and the tongue moves up and down. He has a swivel at his leg and moves out that far, a swivel at his elbow, as well as a bend on a tight ratchet. He has a hinge at his paw, as well as a pivot, toe articulation, dew claw articulation. His back leg moves forward and backwards like this. It has a swivel at the backwards arrival knee thing, as well as a hinge, a pivot at the ankle, as well as a rocker, more toe articulation, and more dew claw. Dew back, dew claw, oh my god, it makes sense. His tail also moves back and forth and up and down, like this, with this being his widest stance with both claws flat on the ground. So the articulation is both amazing and kind of disappointing. His head has a lot of great mobility, the jaw, the tongue, all of that moves really well. His head does have sort of a side to side, however, it doesn't really have a lot of waggle back and forth. I just wish it had a little bit more range of articulation. Although I feel like after owning this guy more than a day, he does have more movement than he did in his head yesterday when I wrote this review. His shoulders move, and that took me a long time to be brave enough to move. They move out because they are on a hinge swivel joint. It's not a ball joint, but the hinge was so tight I almost thought I was gonna snap the leg off the first time I tried to move it out. It does, just be very careful with forcing it. I just gave it a little pressure for a long time until it finally gave. The back legs are kind of what I'm most disappointed about. He just has hinges on there, nothing out. And I wish he had a little bit more range of movement just to give him some more dynamic options. Also, it's weird having these dew claws that are super articulated because like he can kind of grasp stuff, but he can't because he's just a lizard. And the tail's it's pretty good. It moves all over the place. So again, there's some great points here and some not so great points here. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. The sculpt and painting on this Dewback are just phenomenal, especially in the face area. He has lifelike eyes, not lifelike eyes, but they're not lifeless eyes. They're just really well painted eyes. His mouth opens up, which I've talked about, but his teeth, his tongue, all of the dry brushing, the pink on the inside, everything just looks so detailed. I really can't get over it. I stared inside of his mouth for a good 5 minutes when I got this, just trying to take everything in and then resisting the urge. That's weird. That's weird. He has scales sculpted all over the length of his body. He also has a lot of different variations in color painted in to give him a really good kind of model look about him. I really appreciate that. He's got muscles and folds and tendons and everything is just so intricate. I really, really appreciate the level of detail that Hasbro's gone into creating this Dewback. I will say one weird thing is that underneath this saddlebag right here is just a hole. It's just a hole. And I don't know if originally this saddlebag was supposed to like peg into it to secure it, but it doesn't. There's nothing that pegs into it. I don't know why it's there. Is it a screw hole? Oh, it's a screw hole. Anyways, I know it's there. Now you know it's there. And if you're like me, it can just silently bug you too that you know that it's there. From the moment of them announcing the Rey Speeder and Luke Speeder, my mind started racing. What could they do like this? Dewback was like the obvious choice. So this was the thing that I was looking forward to the most the moment I saw that they were doing figures like this. In case you were wondering, some other things on that list are Luke and Leia with their speeder bikes and Endor gear, or Darth Maul with a Sith speeder. I have more on that list, and if you want to see it, let me know in the comments down below. I'll think about making that list. As far as I know, the official release date for it is the 13th. I don't know if I'll have this up in time for that or not, but just keep an eye out. I have a feeling that it won't be too hard to find these. Luke and Rey Speeder weren't super hard to find in their kind of heyday. The $60 price tag sort of kept people away, and now you can get both on Amazon pretty cheaply, you know, 30, 40 bucks. I have a feeling this will be in a similar situation. In total, the Dewback, the Trooper, the accessories, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. I wish it weren't so expensive. I wish the Trooper came with a couple of extra accessories like binoculars or maybe another gun or so, but I'm not going to complain too much because in the end, this is what I wanted, and it's just nice getting another Sandtrooper to go in my collection. Although, for the $60 price tag, if he didn't come with that Sandtrooper, I'd have been pretty mad. I can't recommend this guy enough. If you collect Star Wars The Black Series, and if the original trilogy is your thing, and if you had one of these bad boys in your collection when you were a smaller child collecting the older figures, this is a must-have. This is easily the best Dewback ever made so far. I know some of you will be tempted to just wait off and wait for that price reduction or a sale, and I get that. I would be in that boat too, but I'm afraid that if we do that for every figure, Hasbro won't make these. And I want Hasbro to make these, so I will do my part, shell out that extra 20 or 30 bucks, buy it full price, so that when it's time for them to release another one, they're still willing to do it and not worried about no one buying it for the full retail price. So that's it for my Dewback review. What did you think? Let me know in the comments. Was I spot on? Did I miss something? Did you just not agree with it at all? Are you looking forward to it? I like to read those and I like to respond to them. There's a bunch of different ways down in the downstairs area you can support my channel if you want to. Don't feel like you have to. I mean, I'm gonna do these regardless because I just like doing them because I'm a giant man child. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting this far, and I'll see you later. Bye.